Hello, people of the internet, and welcome back to Rushman Productions. So, I just got back from seeing the Thunderbolts in the theaters, and I'm just super excited to talk about this. So, first of all, I was genuinely excited to watch this movie. The first time I watched the trailers, it was kind of a unique thing that popped out to me in between Captain America Brave New World and Fantastic Four. I mean, sure, Fantastic Four is a whole different vibe. It's set in like the 80s space race kind of theme, and that is visually separate from it. But this MCU title was set in the main MCU timeline, and it still gave me this kind of different vibe to it. Like, I mean, just looking at the scenes in the trailers itself, it felt more gloomy. It kind of felt more somber type of thing that Marvel was going to make. And yes, it is that kind of movie. It has a emotional heft to it, and it does talk about mental health issues a lot. It does talk about loneliness. It does talk about things these super soldiers and these super people are going through in their life, with not just being a superhero but even being a superhero, what they genuinely feel about their life and what people think about them and how they are viewed as these certain archetypes of people in society. Now, the first thing that I would love to talk about is literally this film has its own color. Like, it has its own kind of theme and vibe to it, which I really liked. It goes very well with the all this, sad and somber vibe that they were going with. The hand-to-hand combat scenes, the action is great. They have done great action. The best thing that I liked about action in this movie is that all these characters with sort of different types of skill sets and power sets, how they integrate with each other and how they use those things kind of reminds you of Avengers Age of Ultron in a way. Like how Thor used his hammer and Cap used his, you know, shield and whatever. So it was that kind of a thing where it reminds you that these people have their own powers, they have their own way of doing things, their own unique way of fighting, and it is clearly evident there. Then the second, or like the third thing that was interesting was, of course, the center of it all, Bob, which is the Sentry, of course. Now, the guy who did the acting, I'm sorry, I do not know his name or anything, but fantastic. It was brilliant. The acting was brilliant. He did a brilliant job. I already loved the character that he played. Now, I actually just read about Sentry a few weeks ago. Like, I read the 2018 comics in which it's like a 5-part issue or like a 5-part run, and it basically just introduces to you to Sentry and what his power sets are, what the Void is. Well, this was quite a different take on Sentry, but I still loved it very much, and I'm all up for seeing him again as the Sentry in the MCU. I just loved it. Now, the most brilliant part about this movie was how these kind of different people who do not get along with each other make a team. That was the Thunderbolts for you. And it was a story about how they come together in the end, or like midway through the movie, and form the team called Thunderbolts. But the underlying villain of this whole story wasn't Bob, of course. It was, as we know, Valentina. She has been appearing in the later phases of MCU throughout many different movies, and of course, she was not the villain, but like the overarching bad guy who's controlling it all. Kind of like how we saw Leader in Captain America Brave New World. Jumping off from that point, this movie also is a movie that actually connects a whole lot of MCU things. And I mean, not just movies, but also series. We literally have a reference to the Red Hulk thing. We literally have a reference to the Avengers not forming, and all these characters are coming from different MCU movies, some from the series that are making their debut in the MCU on the big screen at first time, like US Agent. And it's just fantastic to see that at a point MCU just coming together. This actually feels like a real MCU movie in a quite some time. And there are two post-credit scenes in there. So one is just basic, it's just a fun, hilarious one. And the second one is, I think it's an important one because it actually shows uh, a spaceship, and it is a Fantastic Four spaceship. Now, I don't know what that might imply for the Fantastic Four movie, which is coming just like 2 months from now. It's in June or July, I guess. Yeah. So, a movie that is coming in 2 months, and they showed us something about it in the post-credit scene. So, I'm like, so do the Fantastic Four now travel out? How to go through the multiverse? Like, what is happening? And we get to know that the Avengers are in space now and led by Sam Wilson. So it's like, is Doomsday going to start off in the space somewhere? So it's just interesting that this kind of build it up like a base level thing for what is going to happen in the main MCU timeline. So it was great. Now what I will say is Bucky, of course, we all love him. Everybody knows his character and everybody loves him. Everyone in the theater actually cheered when he actually came on screen. His entry was a good thing. Then we have David Harbour, another amazing actor who played his role very well. The jokes that David Harbour made, I mean, as Red Guardian, it was amazing. You should love the character, you should love the vibe. And of course, we all know who died in the first few minutes of the movie. It was, of course, Taskmaster. It was just evident through all this marketing material, these trailers and these posters, that yeah, Taskmaster is not surviving that long in the movie. And yep, the Bob and Sentry thing was good. The dynamic was good. This is kind of a very, one can say, an emotional, psychological film in a way, dealing with Sentry and his powers and the Void as well. The majority of this movie actually focused on Yelena, and it was honestly a great time seeing her eventually becoming in charge of this whole group and this operation, along with John Walker, who is a fantastic actor. Like the guy who played, um, is it Kurt Russell or it is White Russell's son, but I forgot. I think it's Kurt Russell, but yeah, uh, the guy is amazing, amazing acting. We also get to know what happened with him after the events of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it's just great. The movie was great, and in the end, they also revealed that. I mean, it didn't reveal, but it was like kind of pushed out that they are the new Avengers. But it was just like a placeholder name, whatever. But yeah, this movie actually, like, I was genuinely excited to watch this movie, and this movie did deliver to me. This actually felt like something fresh. This actually felt like, you know, going through a comic book. Like this one panel where this fight is happening, and there you have another shot of it, and it's brilliant. It's amazing. I mean, I loved it. Also, the Void, it's terrifying. Like you see that effect in plain movie, that whole blackness, that whole, putting people in the void. It's, trust me, it's terrifying. And just, we go back to the Avengers Tower, which is which is bought by the Ox Group, which is, I guess, a private military group funded by Valentina. But it's nostalgic to go back in the Avengers Tower and see them stand in the place where the Avengers stood against Loki, and it was like, damn. So, yep, I think I would give this movie a solid 7 out of 10. It was a great movie. I'm now genuinely excited to even watch Fantastic Four now. Like, I was of course excited, but now I'm really intrigued to see what will happen and what has caused them to jump to this main MCU universe. And a great movie. Like, probably one of the good movies to come out of the MCU recently, at least. Probably one of the good MCU movies. And yep, that's it. And I really loved it, really liked it. You should watch it as soon as possible, because I think this deserves at least a watch. And this is a rewatchable movie. So I genuinely do not like rewatch movies, but I would love to rewatch this movie again, because this is a great piece of media that they have curated and formed. I just loved it. So yep, go and check it out. That's it. I'll see you in the next.